Don't you always love it when you go live just as you're peering in to see if you are live? So here's my question for you today on location here in Islamlar, Antalya, Turkey. Do you like me? It's a gutsy question, I think. So yes, please like my page, over 60 still fabulous, subscribe so you actually don't miss any of my live streams or any of my posts. For those of you that have been following me, you already know who I am. My name is Victoria Rose and I am on location here in Islamlar. It's a little mountain village just up from Kalkan in Turkey. And it's a beautiful autumn day today, so sunny. And guess what? It looks like I'm going to be able to finish my live stream this time. So why am I bringing to you this episode 9, What Do You Like Me? There are a couple of reasons why I'm bringing this episode to you. Here are a couple of them, and then I'll go into other things around what we need to have a look at, because it is absolutely true that if you allow being liked to run your life, then you will ruin your life. And there are 3 reasons that I would like to give you. You already know them. Around those 3 reasons. But first, look, I have a grapevine cottage heart because I'm traveling. That's why you've got the Travel with Victoria Rose hashtag there. I've had to substitute my big heart for my little Christmas decoration heart. But here in Grapevine Cottage, I have this beautiful heart. Now, the owner of Grapevine Cottage, as you can see, is a very eclectic bohemian, arty-farty type person. She is an artist, and all of her art is strewn all around this fabulous Grapevine Cottage, and I'm very lucky to be here. So let's have a deep dive into why I'm asking, do you like me? Here's the thing. Anyone over 60, you're baby boomers, even those a little bit under. And this actually applies probably to the older Gen Xers as well. It's absolutely been documented that baby boomers, and in particular women, have this incredibly strong, some might say obsessive desire to be liked, for approval. Now, I want to share with you 2 personal examples from my own life that will support what I'm about to say. And because I have been in the leadership training role for over 3 decades, and I have spoken to so many women, look, the young ones, the middle-aged ones, the older ones, and to men as well. And here I want to focus purely on women who are over 60, and they're still fabulous, but they may not think they are. As a matter of fact, someone said to me, what if I've never thought I was fabulous, even as a 20-year-old, a 15-year-old? So let's now have a look at one of the reasons why that might happen. So it's documented that baby boomer women are, in particular men as well, but more obviously women, seek approval. So here are the 2 things from my life that are a little bit embarrassing, but I'm going to share them with you anyway because I'm a gutsy kind of gal. And also because I have reached a stage where, yes, it is true, you do want people to like you, but you realize not everyone is one of your people. And sometimes you're really happy about that because you don't want that person to be one of your people. Here's the first thing. I got to the grand age of 65 years old before one day it dawned on me that I was still seeking my mother's approval. No one was more shocked than I to realize that that was still the case. And it was at 65 years old that I realized she was never, ever going to give it. Ever. And with a little bit more reflection and a little bit more life experience, I really, really understood that the reason why she could never give approval to me and probably to the other 4 children is because she, whether this is true or not, but see, the truth is it doesn't matter whether something's true or not. It's the story that you tell, and you tell that story because you believe it's true. Otherwise, you wouldn't tell the story. So she couldn't give approval because when I cast my mind back to the stories around her life and what she did and seeing it from an older perspective, I can see that my mother never got approval either. So when you don't get approval and you grow up with that from all areas and you have that inner belief, then you cannot give that approval either. Now, I don't know if you think that's absolutely true, but it may not be true for you, but I absolutely know that it's true for so many. Here's the second embarrassing thing. I said I'd share 2 things with you. And it's kind of not embarrassing. It's more of a reflection on what we are like about feedback that we view as negative, that we view as someone trying to put us down and not trying to understand us. And the older we get, the harder it is to take the feedback because our vision seems to be like this. Okay. As those who follow me know, and as I've just said, I've been a leadership trainer for a long, long time, and I ran my own training business for over a decade. And I only folded that up the beginning of this year. So here's what happened. Let me give you one example. Here I am, I'm doing a public seminar. It was in Melbourne, this one. There were over 300 people in the room. And the requirement of being in that seminar was to give in a feedback form. I was doing this for a client, so it wasn't my stuff, as it were. But before I jumped in that taxi to get to the airport to catch the plane for the next destination, I had time because I always wanted to get the feedback. I'm always looking at how can I improve? How can I be better? I could get whether I'd connected or not. Of all those 300, well, not the whole 300 because not everyone always submits their feedback form, but let's say there were 200 that submitted their feedback form. And you quickly flick through, and what are you looking for? What am I looking for? I'm looking for the ones that didn't give you top marks because I want to know why. And here's an example of 2 pieces of feedback. That's all, just 2 pieces of feedback I got from that session. One was this. The instructor had a sing-song voice which caused me to fall asleep. So she marked the session down because of that. I did have a chuckle at that one. But here's the other incredible one. The instructor had, or Victoria had, a fake laugh. That caused me to crack up because all I could say was, crikey, a fake laugh? No one could fake this laugh. And besides, if I was going to fake a laugh, it would be a much more elegant laugh than the wholesome, hearty, crazy laugh that I do have. There's one thing you can say, it is authentic. But here's what I want to say. Even though on a logical point of view, that feedback is crazy. But guess what? I can tell you those 2 pieces of feedback. When did I do that training? At least a decade and a half ago. So we're looking at least 15 years ago. I can remember those 2 comments. Can I remember all the great comments? No, I can only remember those 2 comments. So when I attempted to do this training last week and we had issues with the internet here in Turkey, I got some pointers from a couple of people. So I really want to read them out to you because I think they're great. So this is what Enza Sentorami said. Some people will never like you because your spirit irritates them. So thank you, Enza. And I don't think Enza was necessarily thinking about me, but just talking in general. And then here we have Irene Riley, who said something very interesting too. And you even know this. So you must like yourself first. You just must do that. You must like yourself first. So this, do you like me? And you know, there's a whole heap of stuff around about Facebook and how it can cause people to go into depression because when they scroll through and see all the fabulous celebratory things and say, oh, there's Victoria, she's in Turkey now, where's she going to next? And everyone else with their new cars, their glasses of champagne, whatever it is, surrounded by their family, then that can cause people to not feel like they're achieving in life. Look, nobody likes me. So here's the thing that we really need to have a look at about ourselves. We need to understand, first of all, like I did, but don't wait till you're 65 years of age. But guess what? Any age to find out this about yourself is the good age. At least you found out. Notice if you are smoothing, which women are inclined to do, is to be the rescuers, be the peacemakers, pour the oil on troubled waters. And one of the main reasons they do that is they don't want to be not liked. So you need to watch that, because the interesting thing is, before I go there, I want to share the 3 things that we need to be careful around once we've recognized that we do have this almost obsessive desire. See, sometimes it can be really deep, and some of you watching this, hello replay viewers, might be thinking, I don't have that. I'm a strong woman. I doubt it. I know I'm taking a strong stand here, but I doubt it. I see it all the time. People not speaking their truth, women not speaking their truth, not doing things because they don't want to rock the boat. We've discussed that before, but they want to be liked. So they modify their behavior around wanting to be liked. So what does that open you up to? Number 1 of my 3 points is manipulation. People will manipulate you because they know that you have and will act upon the belief that you must be liked, that you want to be liked, that you need that proof that you are a likable person. We're not even talking about love here. We're just talking about being liked. You absolutely are opening yourself up to manipulation. Here's a business corporate view on that. So I did that leadership training in businesses and corporations all around Australia and New Zealand. And when I'm talking to a leadership group, which was mostly where I presented my workshops, I would say to them, you have to stand in the shoes of the leader for that group. If you allow people to manipulate you, and by that what I mean is your team, you're now the boss of that team, and they might use against you the fact that you were mates together working on the team. So if people now use that to gain an advantage, to manipulate you into doing what they want you to do because it works for them, then you are opening yourself up for charges of favoritism for a start, and you're absolutely being manipulated. And the truth is that no one will manipulate you if they're your friends. So those ones that are doing that, they don't like you. They never were your friends anyway. So that's the first point, is that when you have this desire, and once you recognize it for being liked. Now, how do you recognize when you have this desire to be liked? I don't care how much you deny it, how much in denial you are. And some people have said, oh, everyone wants to be liked. Well, that's kind of true, I guess. But we need to recognize when it's present in our life and what it's doing to our results, how it's holding us down. Because here's the other thing about growing up with the parents that I grew up with, especially my mother, is that love anyway, was conditional, or being liked, or being allowed to do things, or existing in a pleasant environment rested solely on you doing the things that the parent wanted you to do. And if you didn't do the things that the parent wanted you to do, love or comfort or whatever you want to call what you got from your parents was withdrawn. So you might be one of the ones that say to your children, I love you. I love you. I don't like your behavior, but I love you. And I guess because of the way that I was brought up, I absolutely made certain, didn't I, kids? I let you know that I love you. But sometimes you just don't like their behavior, but you must keep loving them, because if you yank your kids around like that, manipulate them purely by withdrawing, let's call it love for now, then you're setting them up for not a good start in life, especially the girls. I mean, the boys, yes, but especially the girls. Okay. So what was the second thing? Yes. So the first word is embrace. So manipulate. The first word is manipulation. If you have this obsessive desire to be liked, then you are opening yourself up to be manipulated by everyone. Your partner, your kids, your friends, your work colleagues, everyone. So you need to really have a look at who you are and like yourself, as Irene Riley said, and stand in that power. And then those that fall away never were your friends anyway. You should be like in Croatia, where when you're a foreigner, they probably do it to each other, but you get the I don't like you Croatian look. I've dubbed it the Croatian look. Let's have a look at the second point. The second point is block. On Facebook, isn't that one of the most amazing features? If you don't like someone and they're a nuisance and whatever, you just block them. But you can't do that in life. Or can you? Can you block people? Here's what I'd like to say about that. What you need to do, first of all, is understand why that person gets to you so much. Now, you don't have to go to a really deep level here. You just need to ask the question. And in asking the question, it could open up the reason why. Often, though, all we can do is point that finger and say, yeah, that Victoria, she irritates me. Oh, she's such she's always positive. It can't be real. She's putting it on. I've actually had people say that to me. And it's a choice, right? It's a choice in how you live life. So once you have a look at, well, what is it about that person? One of the schools of thought is that when you don't like someone, it's because it's a reflection of something about yourself that you don't like, that may not actually be obvious to others because you don't like it, you hide it, you suppress it. And I remember, who was it? Purportedly, Abraham Lincoln said, whether this is true or not, oh, I don't like that man. I must go over and get to know him better. Something like that. So, yes, there is something when you take a dislike to people. So you can't block them as such. And it's not a growth thing when you do that anyway, although you do it on Facebook because that's a whole different scenario, life environment, Facebook for sure. So the first one was, if you're obsessive with being liked, be truthful there, then you are opening yourself up to manipulation. And when you're being manipulated, you know you are. You don't feel good. Second point is that, unlike Facebook, blocking people, well, at least initially, probably isn't the best step. One, until you've thought, what is it? And then once you've assessed what it is about this person, then you can step away. You can just step away. It is actually easy to remove yourself from people's lives. You just stop reacting, you just step away. It does take two to tango. It does take two to clash, right? And to then create the issue. So they're the 2 points that are not useful to you if you are obsessed with being liked. You can tell I've experienced those. And the third point is for you to embrace. So what does that mean? Does it mean embrace others? Well, you can if you want to. It goes back to what both Enza and Irene said. It is to embrace your light. Oh, come on, Victoria. What's this airy-fairy stuff? Embrace my light. Well, there's scientific evidence that if when you drill right down that we're made of stardust or that we're energy, there's no doubt of that we're energy, we're a matrix here, and that we are made of light. You see, it all depends how you choose to view the world. And when you are free from the shackles of being light, then you are then free to embrace who you are. And it might be a real journey of discovery because perhaps you don't know who you are right now, because one of the biggest dangers that we have as women, especially older women, for instance, if you have sons and of course your sons will marry, and then we've got the daughter-in-law, and then we're the wicked mother-in-law, or because when it's sons, you know, your daughter's your daughter all your life, but your son's your son till he takes a wife, which may not necessarily be true, but it is a saying that seems to ring true for so many. You really stop being yanked around like a puppet on a string. You deserve to live your life. So do you choose that? Do you choose to examine how you feel about what happens? So that night when you're lying in bed, what are you thinking about? How do you feel? Do you feel a little bit sick? Is there some anxiety there? Do you think of, oh, what if what I said today someone didn't like? I'm going to give you one final example, which just happened recently here in Turkey. So here we are, we're in this environment, and there are all women in this environment. And one of the women said something to another one of the women about something that was impacting us all. Because I'm the newcomer, I felt I couldn't really be so free and easy with sharing how it was affecting me. So she, gutsy gal, said it because she says she is a direct person. But when that person left the room, then the concern was expressed. Oh, I hope, oh, she didn't like that, did she? Well, no. We don't like stuff when people point out things about us, but that's the only way you're going to grow. When you don't get angry at people because they're giving you from their heart how it has been for them, for you to grow, for you to enjoy life, you need to allow that in. They call it criticism, but criticism has a bad rap. It comes from critique, where critique is where people have a look at something and decide about that, what they like, what they don't like. Nothing personal in that. It's just a critique. My name is Victoria Rose, and I ask you, do you like me? You can put no in the comments. I'm blessed that at 68 years old, I know not everyone's going to like me. As a matter of fact, some people take an instant dislike to me. And same for me. I take an instant dislike to other people. Where does that come from? Well, I've got a few theories on that as well. And you probably do too. And that I'll talk about in another live stream. Now, talking about live streaming, I have just released my free course. It is free. If you are thinking at all of going live, whether you're an activist, a message, whether you've just taken up crocheting and you just want to share the love and the joy, or you have a business, it's all about you getting onto this global platform and sharing your passion. I can tell you it will keep you on your toes and it enlivens you. Once I finish my live streaming, I'm like, yes, what else? What next? So in this course, there are 3 examples with 3 quotes and my thoughts around those, and it's all about mindset. And then what you need to do is, if you want to have a look, I've done 3 videos on really important things like sharing valuable content, pro tips, and just how to use your phone, some tips and tricks that not everyone seems to know. And then there's the bonus video, which is how to find your voice. So we're back to where we are today. Do you like me? Well, I found my voice. Whether you like me or not is your choice, and that's cool. We don't have to be bitter or angry or upset or feel sick about that. You can go and live your life without me in your life and vice versa. It's actually about respect, right? Everyone this is a good way to look at life. Everyone has a right to their beliefs, but we waste so much energy trying to change the way other people think, what they believe. And I'll leave you with this last thing. Those convinced against their will are of the same opinion still. Have you found that? It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Well, I hope to be back with you next Thursday for my weekly global TV show, Over 60 Still Fabulous, and Travel with Victoria Rose. It'll be from a different location. I'm moving from the mountain village down to the sea, to Kalkan. Let's see what the internet's like down there. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, replay viewers. And here's the heart. Don't you love this heart? Thank you, everyone. Bye.